Hello, folks, and welcome to the second episode of the Roll the Quad Pod on Deacons Daily, a Fan Nation site on SI.com. I'm Essex Thayer, and I'm happy to be back. Second episode, Jack McKenney here, along with me.
Essex, today is the week, man. We've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah, I'm excited. First game. We've been waiting for it for a long time. I'm ready to go.
Thursday night is the night, 7:30, Truist Field. Opening night for the Deacons. They're going to be taking on the VMI Keydets. Essex, tell us a little bit about this team.
Yeah, Jack. So VMI, Virginia Military Institute, they play in the Southern Conference of the FCS. So they are not in the bowl division that Wake Forest is in. And against that bowl division, they've gone 0-38 since their move to the FCS in 1982. So a little bit of trivia for you here. Last time Wake Forest faced off against the Keydets was way back in 1944, which was a 38-7 victory for the Deacs. Let's talk a little bit about last season as well. So VMI finished with a 6-5 record, going 4-4 in conference. That doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence in the team, but they did have an overtime win over number 19 Chattanooga, a really key victory for their season, but they didn't make the playoffs, so nothing really to write home about in 2021 for the Keydets.
1944, man, that's quite a trivia question.
No doubt.
Any specific players we should look out for, specifically the backfield, Essex, really some key returning players for the Keydets?
Yeah, no doubt. We are filming this pretty late at night, so I'm not going to lie to you, Jack. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm going to give you 5 guys to watch out for. So on offense, VMI's led by 5 returners, one of which does come at quarterback. That's senior Seth Morgan, who threw for 2,175 yards last year and 14 touchdowns through 10 games. Behind him, another senior is running back Corey Britty, who had 8 touchdowns and 654 yards in 9 games. But Jack, really important news coming out of VMI. Britty did suffer a sprained ankle in practice this month. So the hope is that he'll be back for Thursday's game against the Deacs, but not a complete certainty that he will be playing. So something to keep an eye on. And then the third guy on offense that I'd say you need to watch out for is Leroy Thomas. He's a 5'11", 180-pound senior, and he's the leading receiver for the team. Caught 55 passes last year, 527 yards, 3 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, 2 guys you really need to keep an eye on. And I'd argue it's really one guy you need to keep an eye on. That's 6'3", 240-pound linebacker Stone Snyder. With a name like Stone, Jack, he's got to be good. And he was in 2021. He was the SoCon Defensive Player of the Year, led the conference in tackles per game, including a career-high 21 against the Citadel. He's a senior, and he was named a preseason FCS All-American and could very well be worth NFL consideration this coming spring. And then the last guy is defensive back Alajariq Malri. He's a 2021 second-team All-SoCon selection. 60 tackles, 2 interceptions, starting all 11 games. So those 5 guys, Jack, those are the ones you're going to need to watch out for.
I'll be looking out for him on Thursday, Essex. Obviously, this Monday, there was a big reveal at the press conference with Dave Clawson. Talk a little bit about the Wake Forest depth chart, what we saw, and kind of some key observations on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we, especially at Deacons Daily, have been waiting for quite some time. That first depth chart answers a lot of question marks, fills in a lot of gaps. And some of these gaps that were filled were also filled with surprises. At the top of that list, wide receiver Keyshawn Williams joins the ones as a co-starter in the slot with Taylor Morin. He's a real weapon in the slot with his speed. He had 3 touchdowns last season. And here's why he was a little bit of a surprise. So especially earlier in fall camp, it became clear that he was battling for that number 4 spot to get on the field with Jamal Banks. He won the number 4 spot and then got even enough with Taylor Morin to be a co-starter in the slot. So he won the 4 spot and then went on and did even more. So really big news for Keyshawn Williams. Another guy that fills a gap, 7th-year Javiante Nash will fill out the offensive line. They returned 4 starters, and he's filling in that last spot that was left by Zach Tom, who's now with the Green Bay Packers. So Nash was injured last year, but he started 9 games in 2020. And then with linebacker Ryan Smenda out, he was suspended from the Rutgers Bowl game last year for targeting, even though he didn't hit anybody, but that suspension was upheld. So he'll be out. He's going to be replaced for game 1 by Jalen Hudson, who will start opposite of Chase Jones. And then lastly, Malik Mustafa is going to start at safety, something that we at Deacons Daily had thought that was going to happen, but was kind of unclear. Mustafa played in 13 games last season. And a note at the safety position, what partially could have caused Mustafa to be in the starting lineup is that Nick Anderson, who you remember had 3 interceptions his freshman year against Virginia Tech, is still out with an injury, and he is not on the depth chart.
And Essex, I know Dave Clawson was not happy about that Ryan Smenda ruling, and I know our friend has a little bit more to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You led me right into it, Jack. We're really excited to invite now onto the show one of our football analysts and a co-managing editor, Ben Conroy. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So Ben, you were at the press conference yesterday covering the Deeks, Dave Clawson's words. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what he said?
Right. Well, what I can tell you is that Dave Clawson has a lot of respect for this VMI program and this VMI team. He fully expects that VMI will bring their best to Truist Field on Thursday night. Even so, he made it clear that season openers are about your team, the guys on your sideline, and not beating yourself and not making those mistakes that will end up being costly. So he fully expects his guys to be ready to go and to execute on Thursday night. Even so, there are some questions facing this team, obviously. It's Mitch Griffiths' first collegiate start in place of Sam Hartman. So we're all wondering how Mitch Griffiths is going to look out there, but I can tell you that Clawson is incredibly confident in Griffiths. He said he's had a good couple of weeks of practice. They're very confident in him. He even used the word baller to describe Mitch Griffiths, which I thought was a nice touch. And he expects Griffiths to be able to lean on veteran presences in the receiver room, on the offensive line. You know, you've got guys like A.T. Perry, Taylor Morin, who are not new to this, right? Who have that experience playing under the lights and can really help Mitch Griffiths get his feet under him. The other question is at the linebacker spot. Obviously, came out recently that Wake Forest appeal to overturn Ryan Smenda's targeting call in last year's Gator Bowl was overturned. So Ryan Smenda will be out for game 1. Dave Clawson has not minced words about his displeasure with that decision. So he obviously wishes Ryan Smenda could be out there, but he made it clear he feels good about Jalen Hudson starting in place of him. He feels good about Dylan Hazen. He feels good about the room in general. So Dave Clawson's sentiments were our football team will be fine. We're confident in the guys we have out there, and we expect to take care of business on Thursday night. And that's really all there is to it.
Ben, love to hear those words. Really, you know, it's an exciting time. Dave Clawson's getting fired up in the press conference. Fans are getting fired up. Students are getting fired up. And we are just a few hours away from kicking it off at Truist Field. Really exciting time. Thanks for joining us. And Jack, thanks for being back for the second episode, folks. And thank you for joining. We were very, very happy to be back on the air with you. That's all for us tonight on Roll the Quad Pod on Deacons Daily, a Fan Nation site on SI.com. Thanks for joining.